Hey everyone, welcome back to the M&R show. I'm Ron.
I'm Malcolm.
And we're here to talk about last night's playoff games. We had Bucks Celtics, we had the Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. We're gonna start with Malcolm's favorite team, the Boston Celtics. Malcolm, what is your takeaway from that debacle we saw last night?
Debacle. Hey, Ron. Do you want before we even explain to us or we're talking about this, you remember before the season started, we talked about, the Boston Celtics and what are their ceiling, and we had this conversation with G and we had the conversation with KT, so everybody should understand this. And we talked about what's going to be the floor as far as the playoffs and what's going to be the ceiling. And me and KT said this team could be an Eastern Conference Championship team. The delusion that you portrayed and G portrayed, and the fact that we were just talking any type of way. Just look at us now. Just look at it. Just sit here and just clap because you were wrong. So let's just go back and let's talk about what happened. Number one, what I talked about. It's a physical series. This series was very physical, and what Boston was going to do, and their game plan was, they are going to lock down your role players, and they're going to force Giannis to score. And that's exactly what happened. They tried to do a lot of one-on-one action. They've been physical with Giannis. And yes, it wasn't working at first, but Game 7, you see Giannis started wearing down. You see that toes starting to affect him a lot more. And all that stuff that we've been doing in the past games helped out. Now, this game should have never been a Game 7. I think that Boston made a lot of, errors on their end to be able to end the series a lot earlier. But at the end of the day, the Bucks are a championship caliber team. They've been to championship before. They know what it takes to win. So they was able to pounce on those opportunities. But I knew Boston was going to be able to win this. I think that as you see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, that it takes a lot to stop them. And Milwaukee definitely did not have the guys to be able to stop him. I think Miami's going to be the only team that Boston will have to face that will have the weapons to stop him in a way. You can say Mavericks, you can say Golden State in a way, but I think Miami would be the best suit. But at the end of the day, it was just Giannis by himself. Jrue Holiday had a big load defensively, and I think that struggle in the offense, and especially when you're playing against a very good defense in Boston. Same thing we talked about last year about this drop coverage that Mike Budenholzer has is not effective against teams who love to shoot the ball, because Boston loves to shoot the ball. So if you give Boston an opportunity to shoot it, they're going to shoot it. Game 7, Grant Williams, Mike Budenholzer, you're going to give a guy like Grant Williams a 41% three-point shooter throughout the season and the playoffs the opportunity to shoot wide open threes?
Yeah, he's basically let the guy get hot, basically.
Like, I'm sorry about that. I thought that was just the most craziest thing known to men. I mean, they was just saying, but I give it to him. You're going to live and die, and you're going to make sure Grant's going to win the game for you. And Grant won the game for Boston Celtics. I mean, Jason Tatum did a lot of the good jobs. Jaylen Brown doing a lot of good jobs, getting the role players involved, kicking it out, doing what they have to do. But at the end of the day, Mike Budenholzer said, hey, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown is not going to win this game for me. It has to be Grant Williams. And Grant Williams did it. So, hey, great game plan for us, and we did a good job. So, I just want to congratulate the Boston Celtics. I know I've been talking a lot, but I just want you to know. I want you to be happy. I just want to hear excitement from you, Ron. So,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely a great game. I think it was a great series as a basketball fan. I mean, my non-biased opinion, I guess it was a great series. I guess. Oh, I mean, overall, I think the Bucks they should have had a second seed. Like, that's the problem in this. The Bucks needed a second seed. They didn't try hard enough in the regular season. Literally,
they didn't want to smoke.
They are running. G claims they're running from Brooklyn. That's for another day. But let's say if they were from Brooklyn, they didn't want the second. So they didn't get the second seed. They wanted to play Chicago. But how'd that work? Your second best player gets hurt. Now, of course, you can't predict injuries. But if you had the second seed, maybe you could have survived a Boston. You maybe had a home game for Game 7. But since now you don't have Chris Middleton and you don't get the home game, and then you have, I think it was Grayson Allen, George Hill, Pat Connaughton. They made 3 shots. Like, you just this can't happen. Like, the role players weren't good, but at the end of the day, it's a road game against Boston. I mean, what did you expect from the role players? They were limited. Giannis weighing off in the second half. He looked tired. I mean, we all know he broke a record for 200 points, 100 rebounds, 50 assists. We know he had a good series. I mean, he wasn't as efficient as he could have been. We all know that because Boston's good defense, as Malcolm has already said. But like that was just tough. They needed Chris Middleton. I really thought the Bucks should have won Game 6. And I was texting like, they lost that one because Tatum, that was his best game of the playoffs. He was going toe to toe with Giannis. They both had 40. They both were going back and forth. The Bucks kind of need to win that game at home, and they probably heard something that they didn't get that win, and I think that's why they lost the series. And then, before I pass it back off, I know I brought my narrative up to Malcolm about Jason Tatum and his. Well, first I'm going to bring up my Jaylen Brown. This man is chilling. I mean, dang. Jaylen Brown has a lower workload than CJ McCollum did with the Pelicans in the first round against the Suns. Like, he is chilling. Like, I mean, he's getting 19 points. He shoots whenever he wants. He scores. He doesn't. He plays defense. He does. He has, he's literally, this is a max player. He has the same load as Tobias Harris did with Philadelphia. Like, they have the same workload. It's insane. I told you how good of a coach Udoka has been, and how deep the team has been. But, man, the fact that we're even putting this guy in conversation of people that have that their play matters on their team actually win the game. Jaylen Brown gets 15 points. Okay, Boston can still win. Jaylen Brown gets 10 points. Boston can still win the game. Like, his workload is so low. He's not guarding the best defender all the time. Malcolm can say that. Like, it's Marcus Smart, it's Tatum, it's Al Horford, it's Rob. Like, Jaylen Brown is chilling. I think we're not talking about Jaylen Brown. I mean, we want to call him a top 20 player, probably top 25 player. He hasn't. What is he? He hasn't shown us anything.
Ron, this is
showing us nothing.
You try to add your narratives in the thing, because at first everybody's talked about how Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all they care about is scoring, and they're not getting their team involved. They're not getting their player involved. You try to bring up they're definitely not Paul George and Kawhi Leonard when we talked about this earlier. You say all this stuff. Now, since we evolved the second half of the season, where Ime Udoka said that he wants to incorporate more of a team basketball type of approach, not just a my guy, your guy, or just Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown next. He wanted a more team basketball approach, and you've seen that. And that really showed Game 7. That showed the trust that they had. Having Grant Williams had the most shot attempts in the game is the fact that they understand matchups. They understand that, yes, me scoring 30 might give us an opportunity to lead, but this role player, Grant Williams, is wide open all the time. So might as well give him the ball and feed him the ball and get him going. And that's what Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum has been doing. Jaylen Brown has upped his assists from the regular season, upped his assists from last year. Jason Tatum has upped his playmaking from last year. They have gotten more of a team-centered approach. And they could drop 30 on you anytime they want to. So let's not think that Jaylen Brown is just quiet and not doing anything.
Is that they can do it when they want. In the playoffs, Luka doesn't have a if he wants. It has to happen. CJ McCollum didn't have a if he wants. It has to happen. Jimmy Butler doesn't have a if he wants. It has to happen. Devin Booker didn't have a if he wanted. If he did, they would have won the game. Like, there's no if they want. And these are great teams, by the way. Devin Booker, the Suns won 60 games. But if Devin Booker doesn't drop 30 points, or at least 25, let's go with that, 25 efficiently, they're losing the game. And they're a better team, at least by record. He's chilling. Like, he's not, again, this is not saying he's not a good player, but God, like, I mean, this man is just walking, like, he's playing this is basically like a regular season. He gets no pressure on him. He's chilling. He's had a great series. He's averaged 19 points. 19 is cool, but, like, come on. Like, you're not guarding the best player.
The Milwaukee Bucks, you're talking about one of the top defensive teams in the league. You're talking about they were playing defense. That's the second best wing defender. But they was playing deep. They've been playing defense this whole entire series. I think that we should give props due. Yes, defenses on the defensive side is more important, especially in that series against Milwaukee. But let's not understand that they're not getting pressure, because they are getting pressure. People are pressuring, saying that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can't play together. People are saying this and that. Jaylen Brown had good games in this series. Jaylen Brown had good games against Brooklyn. He had good games against Milwaukee. I think that is not a lot of Jaylen Brown does not always have to take over every game. That's why you bring a team-centric approach. Yes, you're looking at Devin Booker and Chris Paul and them. They won 60 games with that team-centric approach. They've won games without Devin Booker in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs, but in the regular season. They've won games without Devin Booker. They've won games without Chris Paul. They've shown the ability to win those games. Now, when they played against Dallas, that's a whole different story of a situation. The guys, Devin Booker and Chris Paul, struggle. The role players struggle. And that's the problem. With Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they had that's what Ime Udoka was telling them, bringing in trust with these role players, because at the end of the day, these role players are going to give you an opportunity when you're not doing that as well. That's what Giannis needed in the series. He needed his role players like Pat Connaughton.
I give the Celtics role players, would it B+, A- on the series? I mean, I had a 30-point game. Like, this is not a bad on the Celtics. This is just, we shouldn't be giving the stars too much credit because the role players played above average. Like, if Kyle Korver was dropping 30 points a game, he played 2018 with LeBron, we wouldn't be talking about 2018 LeBron, because then it'd be LeBron was good, but Kyle Korver had a heck of a role too. The reason why we praise 2018 LeBron is because Kevin Love was nowhere to be seen, and LeBron was still getting 40, 10, and 10. That's why I was impressed. That's why we said 2018 is the greatest season we've ever seen LeBron, but it really wasn't, because of what he was doing besides the talent. So even though Tatum and Brown are playing great, with Jaylen Brown's shooting 37% from the 3-point line in the playoffs, but he's just his role and his pressure is so low, and that's nothing wrong with his long-term success. It actually helps your long-term success because you don't have to have as high of a workload. It just hurts your rankings against other good players, because those other good players have to perform every night. You don't. Nothing's now. Would that get you a ring or not? Ask Charles Barkley. Would you rather have done that or be ringless? So it's up to your opinion. It is going to hurt them against the individual rankings. But at the end of the day, the individual rankings, they ain't gonna get you no ring.
They're definitely not going to get you a ring.
I'll get you a ring.
If we look at the end of the day, we said Jaylen Brown had a ring. He's been to the playoffs he's been to the conference finals for the last 6 years. He's been in the league. He's been to the conference finals 4 times. In 6 years, he's been on the team. He knows what he has to do to win. And you don't always have to have the ball and try to score and put in the bucket to win. You can trust your teammates. And I understand. See, Jaylen Brown's been on teams where they did not really have a superstar player, as in IT was their best player. They did a lot of passing the ball around and you don't to get the shot. Jaylen Brown understands that's what you have to do to get to the conference finals. I mean, I'm not gonna say the finals because they haven't been, but that's what you have to do to be deep in the playoffs. And I think Jason Tatum has learned that to the extent too. And then you bring a guy like Ime Udoka who brings fresh new ideas, but with the same approach about getting everybody involved. And that's what Brad Stevens loved. But the Spurs system, because the Spurs system, they sacrifice a lot, to make sure everybody's on one accord, because you're better than your weakest link. And I think that's what is big with Boston, what Boston is doing. And they got an approach from San Antonio, so they're using the same approach now. These guys are gonna have to sacrifice what they have in their stats to make sure that the whole team is better. Because at the end of the day, the better team is gonna be in the finals, not the better player, unless it's like LeBron. That's just the one exception. But what I'm saying, that's the only thing.
Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the Suns Mavericks. Immediate reaction after Game 7 last night.
That's what happened when you talk smack.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to say anything, man. I said nothing. Well, Malcolm was also, okay, before Malcolm even goes, we all know he is a Devin Booker hater. Let's put it out there. Now,
I didn't say Devin Booker hater. I just say please don't compare him to Jason Tatum. Even after this series, please don't compare him to Jason Tatum. That's all I gotta say.
You can go ahead there, Malcolm.
But nah, we've seen Jason Kidd done a good job this year, actually transforming his defense as the Dallas Mavericks. They really improved this season, especially when Luka Doncic can't guard a feather. But they've been doing a good job of able to surround that and make it a positive in a way. If you look at the playoffs, they made different adjustments, getting Howell and Chris Paul with guys like Dorian Finney-Smith and them boys, like long wingspan. Chris Paul was struggling against that. Devin Booker, ever since he started talking smack, he's been struggling. They made the adjustments off the pick and roll to be able to do that, be able to swarm the pick and roll. And I think that Jason has done a good job. You just had Luka Doncic be able to have guys that can surround him in a great way. I'm gonna have a narrative for y'all probably in a couple of years, so just make sure y'all tune in. It's a good narrative. I'm not gonna post it now. I think I already told Ron about it. But anyways, Luka has done a good job. He's played unbelievable this series. The role players have stepped it up too, which is very good. And I think Jason Kidd has done a very good job. Monty Williams said this is a bad shooting night, but they just got punked, to be honest with you. They got punked at home.
The Valley.
Like on Game 7, you're the number one team in the league. Just got beat. Not just got beat. I just got beat down.
Like, the game was never close. I'm not sure. I think Phoenix led in the first quarter for a little bit. Overall, the game was, like, I ain't gonna lie, I never really felt like Phoenix had a chance to come back. whole game.
Oh no,
I'm mad he really bet.
DeAndre Ayton didn't even play that much too. That's a crazy thing because his contract is coming up, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's the Suns. Good. Yeah, their offseason is going to be really interesting. Really, it's just the Chris Paul. I remember talking last year. We were like, all right, when Westbrook was like leaving the Wizards, we're like, all the Westbrook fans like Chris Paul haters for sure. But we're like, a lot of their reasons why they hate Chris Paul are decently valid. Like Chris Paul gets a lot of praise while Westbrook gets a lot of hate. Now we're coming back and we're seeing some of that similar stuff. I mean, this is that. And I think I told you this before we got on. Chris Paul has been up 2-0 at least 5 times. He's lost. Well, he's been up 2-0 multiple times, but he's lost 2-0 more than 5 times. Is the most in NBA history. Like you've led a series 2-0. You've lost that 5 times. 2008, 13, 16, 21, and now this year, 2022. Since this year's, after being up 2-0, he averaged 8 points, 7 assists, 4 turnovers, and 4 fouls as a point guard. After being up 2-0. 8 points per game. It's not going to get it done. This is a top 30 player of all time. Now, he said he had a quad injury, but like, come on. Malcolm, do you think he's really hurt? I don't think he's hurt. I'm not going to say that. Not hurt. The man's fine. You have to play. Come on.
I think I seen something on Twitter. It was about, I think Pat Bev said, if before the game ended, he said, watch somebody come up with a fake injury.
For sure.
And
Chris Paul.
Fake hurt. And look, Chris Paul over here with a thing. I'm not going to say that he wasn't injured. I do not know. But at the end of the day, he got punked. And again, it's going to be something on his legacy. Hurt or not, you should not be getting blown out by 50.
Luka's half almost came off the first. Remember, let's not forget the first 3 games of the last series. He's the actual person that's hurt, quote unquote. Like he literally had to sit out playoff games. Chris Paul didn't miss any games this playoffs. He played 30 plus minutes every game. Look, if Chris Paul was hurt again, that's actually even more scary. He doesn't actually hurt. It doesn't help his case. It hurts the case because that means he's hurt again. This is what hurt the Clippers.
Hurt the Hornets. But like, think of this. Last year, you remember Chris Paul was injured. Who was the guy that was able to come and fill his spot? Where was he at this series?
Yeah.
Where has he been? Where has he been this whole playoffs?
Yeah.
You remember? Hey, you're a LeBron fan. You know what LeBron said? Stay humble because you know where you came from. See?
Yeah.
He looked like he's about to go right back to where he came from because at the end of the day, he was nowhere to be found this whole playoffs. And that contract
is 3 years to go. 3 years to go. The max. He's getting paid, what is it, 37? I'm probably getting the number wrong, but it's around 37 million next year and the year after that. And it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. But I mean, at the end of the day, Suns are still a perennial playoff team, and I gotta give respect to respect is due. But they got pumped Game 7 at home, and that's a problem.
And then we haven't even talked about the former Washington Wizards, Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, we can't. It's sickening to me what happens when people leave the toxic environment of the Washington Wizards. It's just like, Malcolm knows this is all Washington sports. They leave our team, they want to be a star. We got the Nationals, Bryce Harper leaves, wins the MVP. It's just like when they leave the city of Washington, D.C., glory is behind them. Like it just they're just getting glory. And I'm sick of seeing it. Now, I was happy last night because I was going for the Mavericks. I'm going for Luka. But come on, Dinwiddie 6 threes. He's not missing. He outplayed Chris Paul the last 2 games. He outplayed Devin Booker the last 2 games. Like it was crazy. And the fact that the man's running a 3-guard lineup and it's actually working is like next level. I mean, to their defense, Dinwiddie is 6'5" and Luka 6'7". Like they're guards, like they're wing size. But still, it's insane. I think that's really what's been working. I mean, Luka at the half, 27 points. Suns at the half, 27 points. I mean, it was an ugly game. Luka legend lives on. And next episode, we'll be able to talk more about the next matchup that they'll be facing. Any final thoughts, Mark?
All I know is Monty should have made some adjustments instead of like switching all the time and putting, DeAndre Ayton on Luka. I think that he should have made some different adjustments.
Yeah. So takeaways: no more drop coverage, no more centers on guards for next year.
Mike Budenholzer and Monty Williams need to look at each other and say, "Dang, we should have listened. Should have changed it up. It cost them the series."
Facts. Well, anyway, again, we're gonna be having more and more content. We got something new coming for y'all next week, so make sure you stay on the lookout for that. Follow us on the YouTube like you still are, or the Apple or Spotify at The M&R Show.
Yeah, thanks y'all for the support. Make sure y'all still follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Malc and Ron Show. We have a lot of different things. Ron has a lot of different takes about he don't talk about Washington Wizards no more, but he likes to talk a little smack about the Celtics. So make sure y'all tune into all that buffoonery. And, Mon's doing a good job with Instagram, so make sure y'all tune in, y'all. So see y'all later.
All right.